Hello everyone, my name is Laban, and in this video we're going to be showing how to build a web app in 4 easy steps. Before we continue, I'd like to give a small disclaimer. This video makes the assumption that you have already published some GIS data onto ArcGIS Online and have fashioned it into a web map. So the creation of the web app begins from the stage at which you have already created and saved your web map. Having made the disclaimer, we shall now log into ArcGIS Online and proceed with our first step. Our first step involves moving to the top right of our ArcGIS Online page and clicking on the app launcher to display the number of apps that are hosted within that particular section of the page. We're going to navigate to the Experience Builder and click on the icon. This will lead us to the Experience Builder system, where we are going to begin our creation of a new web app. This page allows us to see experiences that we may have created previously, as well as manage them. In our case, we are creating a new experience, so we're going to go right ahead and click on the Create New button at the top right of the page. This will now lead us to a page that allows us to create a new experience for our web app. As you can see, there's a number of templates here, and you can make use of any one of them. We are going to make use of the first template in the group, which is the blank full screen template. We're going to go ahead and click on Create to start the creation of a new web app experience. The page that opens leads us to our second step in creating the web app, and this is the creation and configuration of said web app. So we're going to make use of this tour to help us navigate the Experience Builder, and we're going to start off the tour by looking at the canvas. So as you can see, the white space in front of us is the canvas. That allows us to interact with widgets in our Experience app. Next, we're going to have a look at the sidebar. The sidebar contains the widget, page, data, and theme panels, and from these particular panels you can add components to your web app and configure those components to read data from a map and react accordingly. Every widget only needs to be clicked and dragged onto the canvas for it to appear on your web app. So let's go ahead and skip the rest of the tour so that we can continue creating our web app. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, in order for us to create an Experience web app, we need to have in place a web map host some sort of data that we can place as the data source for the web app. In my case, I have a map of medical service providers around Nairobi, and that's what we're going to use as the basis for the creation of our web app. We shall therefore begin by adding the Map Widget onto the canvas. We shall do this by clicking on the Map Widget and dragging it onto the canvas and dropping it onto the canvas. So as you can see, as I hover over the canvas, you can see some percentages being shown on the screen and how much real estate will be occupied by the Map Widget. At first, I'm just going to drop it in there. And at the bottom, you can see we have at the very bottom, at the bottom right screen, you can see that we have a view. So at present, we are not currently seeing the whole canvas. So I'm going to minimize the canvas so that we can see the entire canvas at once. There we can see the entire canvas at once. So you can see our map widget is falling in the middle of the map canvas. We want to put it towards the bottom right of the canvas. So I'm going to drag the map widget once again and place it at the bottom. Now you have the option of actually doing it manually, the way I'm doing it, or you can actually play around with the style option on the right of the Experience Builder app. So you can see the height is at present is 50%. You can actually go right ahead and make it 100%. With placing enter, you can see it now occupies 100% of the height. Perhaps you want it to occupy let's say 75% of the width. I'm and go ahead, type in 75, and on pressing enter, now our map captures 75% width. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to associate the map widget with some content. So this will involve moving to the panel on the right, clicking on content. So remember, this panel is only showing us these particular items because our focus is on the particular map widget. So I'm going to click on the content and select a map. Since I do not have any data within this particular web app experience, I'm going to add new data, clicking on the add new data button at the bottom. And within my content, I'm going to go ahead and search for the medical providers map, which I can see here. So I've clicked on the medical providers map, and at the bottom I'm going to click done. So that's going to be forming part of my data sources. And right there, I now click and select that map, and now you'll see that almost immediately my map is now associated, my map widget is now associated with the web map that I had created earlier named medical service providers. I'm going to go ahead and spruce up the map widget a bit. At the right panel, you can see, you can scroll down and see the number of tools that I can add to this particular web map. So I'm going to go ahead and select a base map widget within the map widget. I'm also going to add a compass within the map widget. You can see as I add them, they actually appear on the widget. And I'm going to go ahead and also add search bar, the widget which is actually there. I think that's all we need for now. So we're going to stop there with the map widget. So I want to style up the canvas a bit, just add a bit of conventional components of a web app. So one of those is a header at the top of the canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the left, and I click on the page icon and click on the page item. And now when I move to my right, I can see that the panel has changed and it now refers to the page. So I'm going to go ahead and add a header, and it's almost immediately added a header over there. And you can go ahead and add a footer if you like. So we've added a header and a footer. So we've just, now our map is sort of put in between those two. And we're going to go right ahead also and add list. I'm going to drag the list onto the canvas. I'm going to drag the list to the canvas, just place it in there. And just like we managed to style up the map widget, we're going to do the same with this particular widget. We want the width of the widget to be, say, 25%. So basically end up where our map, start where our map ends and end at the exact end of the canvas. We're also going to change the template of the list. We're going to have we're going to use the template at the bottom where we have a sort of symbol and some information. So I'm going to click on that. So you can see that my list now looks like it has several partitions, indicating it's going to show data in that particular way. We are also going to change the style a bit, so we can say that the height is around, let's say, 70%. We're going to now fit the list into the space provided by hovering over the options offered on top of the widget. You can see at the top here we have these options over here. We add size. I'm going to pick this and say that I want to have my list widget at full height. You can see immediately that happens. It actually occupies the full space that I'd left out earlier. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to associate the list with some content. So that will involve actually clicking on this particular list widget and going to the content. So within the content pane at the bottom, you'll see that there's a button named Start. So we're going to click on Start. And the Start is going to allow us the capability of selecting data that we can associate with a particular component of the list widget. I'm going to go ahead and click on Select Data. Click on the medical service providers, and the layer that we're getting data from is named medical service providers. So I'm going to click on that. You'll notice that now a few things have changed. The list widget is actually listing things from top to bottom. So now that we have that, we're actually going to go to individual components of the list. I'm going to click on this particular component, and once again I have a chance to select data. So the one that I've selected already right there, I'm going to go ahead and click on the dynamic content portion of this particular section, and I want to place the things that appear within that particular list, and I want the provider's name to appear. I also want below it, I want the provider type, or instead of provider type, let's say specialty. So maybe if it's a dentist, I want to see the name, what that person actually does, and I want to see the phone number. Enter and place the phone number. And once I'm done with that, clicking, you'll see that now my list is now populated with actual data from the service. Now, because I've listed three things vertically, I'm going to expand a particular component. And now you can see that my app actually responds immediately I change the size of a particular component. I'm going to go ahead and do something about the icon that appears. Now we want to have a dynamic sort of icon, and therefore I'm going to go to the panel on the right and click dynamic, and at the bottom here we have symbol. So I want it to be auto-populated by the map itself. So as you can see, what happens on my particular list shows the name as well as the symbol. So I'm going to expand this symbol a bit on it, head over to style, make sure the width is a bit bigger than it is. Let's make it 5.6. More, it's 9.6. Big now. Go to the other component, do the same thing for the style. Make this 10%. Give it some space. Okay, let's make it 13. So now this looks a bit better. You can see the component, each of the components, and presenting some sort of data, and the symbol that's represented by that particular. So I'm going to go ahead and change what it looks like when the component is selected. When the component is selected, I'm going to make the same distinction. I think this was undo. So that's actually a good thing we can do, is undo that. I'm going to click on that and change the style, make that 15. Change this to I think we had this at 9. 9.6. Now we're going to add a few finishing touches to our app that includes the interactivity of the list and the map. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the status of the list, or how the list reacts. So I'm going to pick the whole list. So as you can see on the pane on the right, see list 1. I'm going to change some of the states. You can see here we have a section called states. So we want the app to react in a certain way when you hover over particular items, or when you select particular. So on hover, we're going to enable the hover, and we're going to say that you hover over something, it's going to turn blue. Let's put a lighter shade of blue, and yeah, we're going to just basically turn blue. Going to do the same for select. Go down. I'm going to enable select. I'm going to make it such that when selecting, the theme turns. Actually, just leave it at yellow. So once you select, it turns yellow. When you hover, it turns blue, and everything else remains the same as it was. We're also going to add a few different things here. We're going to remove the spacing in between the list. I'm going to make this 0. You can see now the list is a bit more compact. We're also going to change the scrolling. Instead of a scroll bar, we're going to add a navigator. So we're going to move at least 2 items per scroll. We're also going to change a few things about the button itself. We're going to make the border a bit more pronounced. And we're going to make the border radius, make the individual components in the list a bit more rounded, the edges. I'm going to place that at, let's say, 8. Changes happen. So we've actually added a few items to the list there. Now something else we're going to do is we're going to add action. So I'm going to click on the action tab, and I'm going to add a trigger. So we're going to say that when the record selection changes, something should happen, and we're going to add an action to the map. We're going to zoom to the particular item, automatic sort of resolution, and we're also going to go ahead and flash particular. Going to go ahead and do that, and we can actually test what this looks like. At the top here, you can see we have a preview button, but before we do the preview, we need to save what we've done. So we're going to save our work. You can see this is a draft, not published, and it can only be viewed by the person who's making it at this particular moment. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. So this should actually load what we have in our list right now. So you can see the items, the changes that we've made. You can see we can scroll up, down. By hover, things change. I click on a particular one, changes color, and actually zoom in on the map. So as you can see, we've been able to do a lot of things without necessarily writing any sort of code. Just done this off configuration. So you can see that it's actually working. Let's see, things work. Imagery. Perhaps I think it zoomed in a bit too far. Exactly where these things are. So we're going to now finish up making the app. By that I mean we're going to edit the header. Close this. Edit this header and drag a text widget in there. And we're going to give the name, give the app a name. So find medical provider, and we're going to center this. Maybe we're also going to add the 23 fix. You can see find your medical provider. I'm also going to name the app itself, medical provider finder. Not the best of names. Going to work with that. So once again, we're going to save and preview. Now you'll notice, whereas I had an entitled experience, now I have my medical provider finder. I have the heading here, find your medical provider. I have my app. Something. Have it zoom in. See, the zoom is giving us issues. You might need to change that a bit. So what we're going to do is go ahead and change the zoom. So that's a bigger zoom to custom. Make it rather than. One thing we need to mention that experience works for different form factors, and you can tailor your app to respond differently when viewed to different devices. So the third step of our building process is configuring the app for different form factors. At present, we've currently only been looking at desktop form factor. So let's see what this app looks like in a tablet format and in a phone format, mobile phone. So as you can see, the tablet format and the mobile phone format are not exactly what you'd expect from any one of these devices. So to actually make them more palatable within these particular form factors, we need to make some changes within the particular form. What the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make these custom layouts. So we're going to start off with the tablet, make that a custom layout. We're going to go ahead and also make the map widget a custom layout. And finally, we're going to go to the footer and make it also custom layout. So once we've done that, we're going to now make our list here at the bottom of the tablet. So I'm going to pick that particular list, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put it in what we are calling the pending list. We need to remove it from the app by putting it on the pending list. At the same time, I'm going to come to our page view and move towards our desktop form factor. I'm going to come to our list and within the three dots that you can see there, I'm going to duplicate this list. As you can see, I have my list there, copy, and also this I'm going to move it to my pending list. I have it within my pending list, and let's move back to tablet. Come to the window option, the left. Rather, actually move to the insert panel, move to the pending option of the insert widget, and within the tablet I'm going to insert the copy of what we did. I'm going to drag it into our tablet view. I'm going to expand our map widget, cover the entire view tablet. That means I'm going to change my style here to 100%, and I'm going to drag this to the. I'm also going to make a few changes to my list, because you can see now I'm editing the list one copy. I'm not actually editing the list that has been used other factor in the desktop factor. I'm going to change a few things. As you can see, the list still works as it did before. Now that we have the list in position, we're going to change the arrangement. Instead of going top to bottom, we're going to make it side to side. And we're going to make the item width a bit smaller, 70. As you can see now, we can fit in a bit more. And people will be able to scroll through from side to side. See, we've changed our form factor, it looks a bit better. We're also going to go ahead and edit our header, make it a bit longer, so that you can find your medical provider. Great, so that's find your medical provider. So we've changed their tablet. We can do the same for the mobile device. Once you've finished configuring your mobile form factor, you can now take a look at the three form factors and see how they differ from each other, while still working within the same app. If you are satisfied with what you have as mobile or desktop, web, and mobile application, you can go ahead and save. Make a preview. We have our desktop form factor here. You can make use of browser developer tools to see what it looks like in other form factors. I'm going to open the developer tools right here. You can see what I have. I can see what it looks like on a Surface Duo. Looks like on an iPad. Like phone. You can see being able to move on something. I have the zoom over it. And so on and so forth. So basically, we're able to see our app working great. We can finally come back to our final stage. Final stage, building the web app process, that's publishing. So publishing means basically making it available for others to see. ArcGIS. I'm going to go ahead and click publish. You can see we've published successfully, and you can view your published item. You publish link. This is our final. This is the app that you shall present to people. And that's how you do it. You actually created a web app, 4 easy steps using ArcGIS Experience Builder. I hope this has been an informative session for you. You're going to go ahead and create amazing apps. ArcGIS. Thank you.